Mark Brandenburg.
Has joined.
Commissioner Brandenburg, thank you. We can hear you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I, I'd like to call this month's meeting of the Centennial Commission to order. May we please have the roll call?
Chair Berkeley,
Here?
Commissioner Bryan, Commissioner Arnold, Commissioner Arnold, Commissioner Stodel, Commissioner Brown,
Present.
Commissioner Coffin, Commissioner Helton, Commissioner Sinnock,
Here.
Commissioner Mowbray,
Here.
Commissioner Truesdale, he's excused, Commissioner Brandenburg,
Here.
Commissioner Creer, he's excused, Commissioner Mills,
Present.
Commissioner Prado, Commissioner Diaz. Thank you. We do have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Agenda item number 3, public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the
Excuse me,
agenda for
Mayor.
action. If you wish to be heard,
Excuse me,
please
Chair.
give.
I'm sorry. Could you please announce that we are in compliance with the open meeting law?
Yes, we are in compliance with the open meeting law, and we do have a quorum. You're very welcome. If you wish to be heard, please give your name for the record. The amount of discussion as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. We will limit this to 2 minutes. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak? Seeing no one, we'll go to agenda item number 4. For possible action to approve the final minutes by reference of the regular meeting of November 24th, 2025. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor of approving
Aye.
the meeting? Thank you very much. Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Okay. Did you get that?
Commissioner Sinek and Brandenburg?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Agenda item number 5, report by the City of Las Vegas Finance Department staff regarding the Commission for the Las Vegas Centennial budget for fiscal year 2026. Will you please state your name for the record?
Yes, Quinn Oshikeski. I am the Budget and Treasury Manager for the city. Good afternoon, and I see we have the presentation up, the backup from the financials. There should be one page before this. We're missing the financial statement. It's the first of the 3 slides. There it is.
Okay.
So, good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Today I'm going to present the financial results. Paul Bresnahan, who normally gives this presentation to you, just had his child arrive. And so he's going to be out for a little while. So I am going to substitute today and just give you a quick view of the financial condition for the commission. So he has done the numbers through the end of the calendar year, 12/31/25. As of that time, the revenues that have been received for the commission are $521,540. Of this, the amount coming from license plate revenue is $421,540. The expenditures related to programs, which would be the grants that the commission has granted that have been expended in the current fiscal year, are $781,435. which tie to the next chart that we'll go through, which is all of the grants and the amounts expended for them. And then the section down below are the general operating expenses, which total $108,593. So the total expenditures for the commission are $890,028, which means that there has been a change in the net assets of $368,487. So the cash has went down. Currently, the net assets that the commission has is $5.8 million. Are there any questions on that?
There are a couple of questions, and I realize that you may not have the answers told off for the record off the top of your head, but we go back to the expenses.
Yes.
And under management administrative services, the working agreement between the city and the Centennial Commission is for $180,000 annually. $90,000 has been taken out for the first part of fiscal year 26. We go down to administrative expenses. It says $15,000, and I'm confused, and maybe when at the next meeting, why there's administrative expenses that should be included in the $180,000.
Yes, so the management and administrative expenses are related to the support that the city provides. So that would be the people that take care of the commissions, myself, Diane, the people that are paid through the city. That is the amount that's being charged in the management and administrative services. So it's the services of the city that are provided to the commission.
I understand. I have the work agreement here in front of me, and it lists all of the categories, but why is there an additional administrative expenses that should be already included in the $180,000?
So of that other amount that's there's $485 that are for investment fees that relate to the interest that the commission receives. There's $2,786 that relate to patent and trademark fees. And then
Wait, are you talking about legal, accounting, and auditing?
Yes.
I'm talking about the $15,000 and above that.
Yes, so those other expenses down below are what I was just quoting to you.
That makes sense. I understand that, but why we have a category of $15,000 for administrative expenses, that's legal, accounting, and auditing is already at $14,008. And quite frankly, the working agreement says those should be included, not separate.
So there is nothing charged to that directly at the moment.
Yeah,
And
is there a definition for that?
So if there was something that would be directly related to the commission, where the commission should pay that bill, that would be what shows in there. But as of this moment, there is nothing charged to administrative.
Okay, but do you have, does the city have like time or definitions of what each expense category is?
Administrative, these were developed by Paul, and they were trying to put it into a small category. It's $15,000 that is put into the budget so that it's there. But as of now, it's not spent. If it would be needed, at least we've appropriated something for the expenditure.
And this is my last, really, the issue is, for me, is how expenses can be added to the cost of running the Centennial Commission without the Centennial Commission approving that. We approved $180,000 to do all this stuff. Now there's new charges that are being added, and we're not apprised of that. So that's not you doing it, I understand, and so please don't take it like that. But if we could get some specific answers at the next meeting, it would be really helpful.
We can try to do that for you.
Great, thank you.
I'm thinking, and would you tell me if I'm hearing what you're asking? There's we have the $180,000 budget for administrative, but now we see 15,000 plus that hasn't been used. But what would be what expense would we charge to that 15,000? And I think that's what Bob would like to know. It's here. It's 15,000. We haven't spent it, but what would we spend it for?
I can look into that. If
Yeah.
we've ever spent anything under that, we can get back to you on that. I don't know if there's ever been anything that's been put there.
Okay, just curious what would be eligible to be charged to that 15,000?
There was, at the last meeting, there was $607 put into that account, and now it's gone. But we spent a lot of time on this. It's just, if you take a look at the existing operating agreement, and it lists 8 categories of things that the city can spend money on for the Centennial Commission. And so that's in the working agreement. But I really appreciate your help and your time on this, and at the next meeting, maybe a little bit of clarification on the two things. One, what's the 15,000 for? Nothing's, and this report has been taken out. And then secondly, how expenses can be attributed to the Centennial Commission beyond the 180. You know, there are other categories, advertising, that's listed here, so we know that that's one.
And Bob, isn't there a third one that is, basically, if it's an additional charge, doesn't the commission have to approve it?
Yes.
The answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
Would you continue with your presentation, please?
Yeah.
So the next slide that we have is the grants that have been granted by the Centennial Commission, and it's been updated for the new ones that were added at the last meeting. And I'm waiting for them to put that up. Could we have the next slide, please? The one before that.
There we go.
Yeah, so these are the outstanding grants which have been updated for the amount of expenditures that have happened in the current fiscal year. So that's in the expenditure for year end is 6/30/26. This is what has been expended on each of these grants, and at the bottom, the new ones that you have approved have been added to the list. So we will be tracking those as we go along. So that total expenditure of $781,435 correlates to the program expenditures that you saw in the financial report previously.
This is probably still for the record a question for Dr. Seabrand, but have any of these grants been extended because the applicant needed more time to finish the project?
Seabrand, for the record, correct. And some of these have been completed. The only one on there that needed an extension was the UNLV oral history for the sports project. And the Paul Revere Williams is the other one that's just been given a bit more time.
Usually, is it like 6 months or a year? What kind of is there a normal, you need another year or?
Well, they just let us know that, how much more time they need for and this is on my update, but I'm happy to
Okay.
tell you it now if you want.
That's fine.
I'll do it for my update then.
Thank you so much. Please continue.
Okay, and then the third slide that was included in the backup is the license plate history. I believe at the last meeting you had asked for some additional plates to be presented along with the Raiders, the Knights, and the Centennial plate numbers. So those are included on there. We've now have UNLV, UNR, Metro, Lake Tahoe, which is quite a big one, and United We Stand. So we've given you the history on those, and as you can see, the Las Vegas Centennial commemorative plates are the largest.
Does anybody have any questions or comments that they would like to make or ask? In that case, this is for information purposes only. There is no vote required. We thank you very much for your time.
Yep, thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
It is kind of ironic that I thought the Raiders were going to catch up to us until the last few days, last few games. They'll be there for a while. Distant third place, I think.
The Raiders?
Raiders, yes, they're Raiders.
They're in third place? That's pretty good.
Well, they've lost a lot of plates.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, you're absolutely right. Okay.
That's showing.
Yeah, actually, we went to the last game to lend some support for the future. Having said that, we are now going to agenda item number 6. Final report by Jeffrey Carlson, Website Content Development Consultant, regarding the website content development for the Commission for the Las Vegas Centennial Project. Hello, and would you state your name again for the record?
Good afternoon. I'm Jeffrey Carlson with a final report on the Las Vegas Historic Timeline. This 100-year timeline was completed with input from Dr. Seabrandt and extensive fact-checking and notes on content from Mr. Stodahl. The thematic focus of the timeline is similar to the ongoing City of Las Vegas documentary series, covering people, places, government, economy and business, geography and infrastructure, institutions, and major events key to the city's history. On the screen, we have the Las Vegas website's existing timeline page mocked up with content I created. The new content is not yet published. When and how it's published will be up to communications. But like my previous updates, I've created a few slides as an example of how it might look once it's there. Each decade begins with the city population and the corresponding City of Las Vegas documentary. Every entry has a brief milestone title, about 50 words of text, a photo and photo credit in small type. In my last update, Mr. Bryant asked for a photo that better represented Eldorado days as it began in the 1930s. Here we have a photo of the parade from that time passing storefronts on Fremont Street. Some of these years have 2 or more entries.
Oh, Fifth Street.
Underneath the Golden Nugget facade. Some of these years have 2 or more entries. 1943 was a key year of expansion of suburban housing, and it was also a year of huge population growth of the West Side at a time when it was underserved and underdeveloped. 2 entries for 1950, Las Vegas Sun, one of 3 newspapers covered in the timeline, and the infamous organized crime hearings held at today's Mob Museum. 1960s, a civil rights landmark, and the acquisition of Tule Springs Park. 1980s flooding and flood response and the closure of the Union Pacific's downtown rail yard. 1990s flooding and founding of the Neon Museum and designation of the medical district. The last entry covers the Centennial celebrations and the Centennial grant itself. These slides are just about 20% of the full timeline in today's packet. The final work is 72 separate entries totaling about 3,000 words. For a young city, the timeline is rich with information, concise enough for quick reference and long enough to be a jumping point into Las Vegas history for educators, journalists, and casual readers. I had a great time writing this timeline, so thanks for the opportunity. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? Yes.
Commissioner Mowbray here for the record. You know, well, we've done a lot of documentaries on the history through the years, and what's recently come to my attention, because some researchers have reached out to me, was an event in 1976 and 77 that's completely been lost under the radar, and that was the death of Howard Hughes and the subsequent Mormon will trial that was trialed here in Clark County, a 9-month trial. And at the time Mr. Hughes died, it was reported he was the wealthiest man on the planet, the latter-day Elon Musk. And that somehow has been lost to the ages. So maybe if it's ever revised or reconsidered, you might want to give some thought to that. I know the Mob Museum is going to have a presentation on that in a couple months, and you might want to attend that just to see.
I wrote about the Hughes house for the Clark County Museum. Howard Hughes is not mentioned in this timeline. I think that was appropriate because Hughes was a phenomenon to the Strip and the hotels on the Strip. This timeline, taking the same theme as the city documentaries, is focusing strictly on the city boundaries.
But the trial happened about 200 yards from where we're sitting.
True.
It was a 9-month trial, and the eyes of the nation were on the city of Las Vegas for that trial.
Still, though, for the record, there's lots of things that potentially could be added, specifically trials, because the trials would all take place within the city of Las Vegas. I agree with you about Howard being the early years related to the Las Vegas Strip, and I could have made this pitch to you before, but he did have, of course, with Summerlin, he bought that land which is now in the city of Las Vegas. I know it opens up a door to lots of trials, but this one could very well stand out as being. We had lots of trials in Las Vegas that were major. But again, it's Howard Hughes, the Strip, where he owned all the hotels and where he did his investments, with the exception of this big piece of land he bought during World War II was going to build a defense plant. Never did, but it was turned into what is now Summerlin.
And Bob, you will recall that the maps used by the realtor refer to as Hughesite. H-U-S-I-T. If you look at all those old real estate maps that the brokers used, that area out there, that was before Summerlin, and that was the property you're talking about that was acquired during the war.
That's right.
Well, it really brings up a question, and it's more, I think, for Dr. Seabrandt. Who has the authority to change the elements of this particular timeline? Is that something your office or something communication, or what would be a process? Because I know we've got to add a few, like with the documentaries, and there may be another mistake who has the authority to change it?
So, Seabrant, for the record, so communications ultimately has the authority for what's posted on the website, but we give them content. And once we give them content, I mean, unless it's offensive, which we would not do, they wouldn't put it up, but they'll put up what we request if it fits in with the perimeters of how they're, promoting the city. So are you saying that you want to add to the timeline, and who would approve that? Is that your
No,
question?
I'm just thinking we're going to add the new documentaries, the 80s, the 90s, we're going to add that. That would be
Yeah,
that.
communications does that immediately.
But you use the word, this timeline is not to market Las Vegas. This timeline is a historic timeline, and it's got some odds and ends in there that the city has grown up and developed. But the filter that Jeffrey used to make the selection working with you, it doesn't look like that's what communication is going to use. And they've got a whole thing on the Golden Knights on the timeline. That's great, but it's not the city of Las Vegas. So somebody needs to have some historic authority to say, that fits or doesn't. If the communication department can put whatever marketing stuff they want, then so be it. That's up to the city council and the mayor to decide if that particular authority is what we want a historic timeline about. But, so at this point, we don't know exactly when it's going to be put online?
So, Seabrand, for the record, so right now we are working with communications on finalizing all the edits for the grant summaries that Jeffrey did as the first part of this project. And those should be going up. I have to talk to them this week. And then this will go up as soon as this commission, if you want to change anything or edit anything, if everybody is okay with what Jeffrey has provided, then we will pass this on to communications and they will get it up after they look at it to make sure it, again, is in line with the language that the city uses.
You think maybe the first quarter?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes,
If
Mr.
I may-
Coffin, yes,
if I may
of course.
proceed through you, I am not directing any particular person, but it's been on my mind a long time. The boundary lines set by decadal movie lengths, if you will. We're having a problem, I think, because we do miss things, or we maybe give a little too much attention to something we probably ought not to in reflection. But I always look back on who pays the bill. And ultimately, we've been very good at making sure that this was Las Vegas, but was all Las Vegas, and it's all currently defined as Las Vegas. Anything that happens in this valley is Las Vegas. And we have an opportunity to pay back our citizens who don't live in the city, but are paying for this. So one has to say, well, I bet you half or more than half of the plates are actually purchased by residents of the county. So there's an element of fairness to consider. And I like the idea of bringing Hughes in because I was here and active at the time. In fact, I even saw him once. But I think that if we had a series, or perhaps one, that highlighted the famous men and women of Las Vegas, not just when they were here, but certainly Hughes would fit into that category. And so it's a thought for a future program, I think maybe more than one, the famous men and women of Las Vegas, without defining where they actually did their business. And I'm glad you brought up Hughesite, because that definitely, in fact, I think he almost got that for free as a payment for war debts. So,
Bob, one of the challenges that we face, solo for the record, is that the Nevada Revised Statute, which you helped push through, talks specifically about the city of Las Vegas. It doesn't talk about the generic term Las Vegas. And so I think there's a real, too often the Las Vegas Strip gets all the credit for being Las Vegas. And this series of documentaries is focused on the city, the incorporated city of Las Vegas, its development, its meeting the challenges and so forth. So there could be another timeline that's developed for the Las Vegas Strip and the county. The county has their own timeline on their website, which is clearly not as good as the one that you have produced, both with images and factual and so forth. But if I don't think the Centennial Commission would be allowed to fund a generic Las Vegas one that would include the Las Vegas Strip. One needs to be done, but I don't think that we have the authority to do that with Centennial money.
Bob, let me ask you a question, and I guess this will ultimately be directed to Jeffrey. I think Howard Hughes' impact, particularly on Summerlin, which is a very large part of the city of Las Vegas, there probably ought to be a mention in our timeline because it has been so significant for us. Are you comfortable with that? Not with his impact on the Strip.
130,000 people that live in Summerlin.
And I am one of them.
You
So,
live in the city part.
I better live in the city, Bart, yes. If we could make a mention of that, because that was rather significant for our growth and development as a city.
Jeffrey Carlson for the record. I wish I could pull up the full timeline to see. I think I partially misspoke when I said Howard Hughes was not mentioned in the timeline. In fact, Howard Hughes Company is mentioned in an entry I have about the acquisition of Summerlin and the creation of Summerlin.
Okay, so it's in there.
Yes.
Oh, lovely.
If I can interrupt Seabrant for the record. So what Jeffrey just showed you is just an example. The entirety of the timeline was included in the backup, so everybody should have been able to look at it and read everything that he created.
Okay, oh, thank you. So, all right, Jeffrey, so you just gave us a taste.
That's right.
But all of it is in our backup information.
Yes.
All right, then I would invite all of our members to just look at the backup information before we ask for any changes in something that might already be there.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions or comments directed at Jeffrey before we let him leave?
One quick one. Dr. Seabrand, there's another timeline on the city's website right now, and it is filled with errors, and that's the West Side timeline. And we need to respect that by having a factual story. There's a picture there that says it's West Las Vegas when in fact it's Fremont Street.
Oh.
Those things all need to be cleaned up, but then that brings about the question, do we need to develop a timeline, a historic timeline for the Hispanic community? And or the Asian community. I know we can keep going down the line, but those seem to be the three largest. So I was just thinking about that as we need to fix the West Las Vegas timeline. Is anything in the works?
Seabrant for the record, no, there is nothing in the works at the moment for the West Side timeline.
I think we should.
Yeah, how do we go about revising it to be more accurate?
Seabrant for the record, if we wanted to update that, and this is something that the Centennial Commission wanted to support, then we could, and if everybody's happy with Jeffrey's work, he can submit a proposal in order to do that and do the updates. And but I would like to point out that the West Side timeline, it's about the West Side, is not specifically, is it listed as West Side? About the African-American community, so we might want to do, if there's, we know there's
Well, it really focuses on.
Then we should really then call these like African-American community history, Hispanic community history, Asian American community history, however it is that we want to do that.
Well, it should be Las Vegas history, but I think it's important, particularly in East Las Vegas, West Las Vegas, that we present the actual facts because they do have a very storied history in this community that has been long ignored or misrepresented. So perhaps in a later meeting, we can have this on the agenda to discuss.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Is that all right, Bob?
Thank you.
All right. This was informational only. Jeffrey, thank you so much. Oh, wait.
I just wanted to say thank you to Jeffrey because, we went into this with strong opinions and a little bit of a fractured group trying to figure out how to do this. So with you coming on board, I'm thrilled with what I'm seeing. So I just want to make sure you heard it from us. Thank you.
Yes, we're very appreciative. Thank you so much. Agenda item number 7, 25-0612-CLV, CLC1, discussion for possible action regarding approval of a grant request for $81,992 by MV Star Group for the costs associated with the restoration and reinstallation of the Star Motel sign located at 1418 South 3rd Street, and authorizing the president to execute the grant agreement as approved by the city attorney. And this affects Ward 3. Ms. Diaz, welcome, gentlemen, and would you please state your names for the record?
Hello, my name is Glenn Plantone. Two N's on Glenn. Plantone is Plantone.
Good afternoon. My name's David Ranan, DavidRaanan.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Star Motel. Oh,
That's
and
right.
here's a
It's a
postcard.
little advertising, Bob.
Official postcard for you, Mayor.
Oh, my.
World famous Star Motel from the 60s.
Look at that. Bob took it from me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you can have it to whoever wants it.
See, there are certain advantages to being the mayor, Bob. This is fabulous. Oh, my goodness. You've stated your name for the record. Will you tell us something about this project?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Mayor, City Council, or it's not City Council, Council members, and Governor Bryan. Nice to see you. When I went to college at UNLV in the early 80s, you were my man. So, good to see you.
That's a previous century. I know it's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, actually, I think it is another century. Oh.
So David and I bought the property about 2.5 years ago. This is the 6th oldest motel in all of Las Vegas. The world famous Star Motel, as we like to call it, and Mayor Berkeley was kind enough to mention us at the parking garage grand opening a couple of months back, which was nice. So the property was built in 1947, and it's located in the Arts District. As I said, it's the 6th oldest motel in all of Vegas. In the past few years, we've invested about $500,000 into restoring 3 buildings. There's 3 different buildings. We call it A, B, and C. The property has 23 units, and we only have 3 units left to renovate, and then we'll be 100% done with the interior units. One of the most iconic features of the Star Motel is the original 1947 neon sign. The sign isn't just a piece of metal and glass, as our friends from Yesco will adhere to, is that it is a visual reminder of Las Vegas history, Route 66 culture, and it's what made Las Vegas very famous way before the mega resorts were involved. The grant would allow us to properly restore the sign and return it to its working condition, enhancing not only our property, but the entire streetscape. A revitalizing historic neon sign adds walkability, pride, tourism interest, momentum to an area that already is becoming one of the most exciting parts of Las Vegas, and we believe that restoring the sign supports the historic preservation, economic development, and the broader revitalization that benefits the city as a whole. We've invited with us our friends from Yesco. The grandson of the founder of Yesco is here with us, Jeff and Mark, and we'd like to invite them up to talk about you're probably already looking at it, the little item they've created, a PowerPoint they've created. So we're open for questions. We appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of you guys, and we're open for any questions.
Before that, gentlemen, would you care to add something to the discussion? And please state your name for the record.
Thank you. I'll kneel down. How's that?
Oh, heavens.
My name is Jeff Young, and I'm with Young Electric Sign Company, also known as Yesco. We are grateful as an organization, a family, to be part of Las Vegas's history. And we've enjoyed we love signs, so I have to say that. We've enjoyed every renovation project we've been involved with. 2019, the Hard Rock Guitar, which sits prominently in the Neon Museum. Vegas Vicky, which is a stellar reminder of our history, along with all the renovation projects we did with the expansion of Las Vegas Boulevard. In our minds, this project would be absolutely fantastic for the city of Las Vegas. Not only are we well suited to help you with this, Oscar Gonzalez, who is our lead neon tube bender, would pour his heart and soul into this, making sure that the neon represents the true history of this sign as it was. We're going to do everything we can to retain every part of the sign that's safe. We'll likely need to do a new footing. we'll likely need to do a new pole. But all the rest of the sign, best we can, we're going to keep it and save it and use the colors that represent how the sign looked in 1947. So we'd be honored to be a part of this project and would value your questions and input.
Remember, Brian, for a personal question, how are you related to Rennie Young?
Rennie Young is a distant cousin of my grandfather's.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mayor, I've got a couple questions.
Oh, yes, please.
Feel
More
free,
about the
Bob.
family, I hope. Can you hear me okay?
I'm surprised that neither Yesco or the city or you know when the sign was built.
47, right? 1947 is the date we have.
No, that's the motel opened, but the grant application says the sign's from the 1950s.
We may have misplaced that. I thought that we had got that information from Diane, but I'm not sure. So I apologize if we had the
So
date
you've been
wrong.
able to confirm that the sign was built in 1947?
That might be hard to do. You know, records are lost. So, oh, a chair. We got a chair. How about that?
That's awfully good. Oh, I'm so happy you did
Yeah,
that for him.
beautiful building. We've actually got a chair here, so thank you. Yeah, we may not be able to confirm exactly when the sign was built, sir.
But may I interrupt? I'm imagining that it was pretty close to when the motel was built, as advertising for the motel. So anywhere between 47 and 50.
And the design and
think
that
it's
tilted pole is reminiscent
Between
of the late
47
50s.
and the late 50s.
Right,
Is
that's
there
our-
that big of a,
I like it.
and just a minor FYI, I wasn't on Route 66.
Yeah, no, it was not.
I mean, Route 66 came up through Fremont Street and made a left down Las Vegas Boulevard, 5th Street, all the way and picked up Route 66 at Barstow. But we had Route 466, which was off of 66. But that's just me babbling.
Back to the sign.
That's a good point.
My concern is that as I drove up Fremont Street today to see a bunch of neon signs standing by themselves in front of the rubble of motels, back in 2018, the city, the Centennial Commission funded $750,000, $750,000 to restore the signs, repair the signs, and keep them in good shape for 10 years. Now, while there's a story in the RJ this weekend that said, somebody from the city said, don't worry, the signs are safe. The reality is that 10-year deal comes to a close February the 3rd. And I'm going to ask Diane later on to see if we can get an update on that. And I read the contract. Nowhere in this contract, if the decision is made that you or the next owners decide they don't want this apartment sort of motel complex, they want to build some sort of multi-thing, we don't know what will happen to the sign. That's really my concern. The contract doesn't. It says, yes, we're going to do it right now. That looks good. But what about tomorrow for the neon signs?
If I could, first of all, I know how much time and effort and love you have put into restoring that motel. And when we were doing, Olivia and I were doing the groundbreaking for the new parking garage, it was right there in front of the Star Motel. So it's going to get a lot of people are going to be looking at the Star Motel. They're going to be reminiscing about it. And I think this sign is absolutely beautiful. I'm wondering, and I'm glad you brought that up, Bob, could we get, nothing lasts forever, but I'm wondering when the life of this sign is over, if you are planning, and would you be willing to donate it to the Neon Museum so that we will have this beautiful sign as a remembrance of the Star Motel, the way it was and the way you're restoring it. Would that satisfy you if you knew where it was going?
Yep.
Would you be willing to?
Oh, very much so.
Absolutely. It'd be an honor to be in
the
the
fact that it's already 75 years old, roughly, yeah, because I plan to be around for another 50 years, so we'll definitely do that.
is from your mouth to God's ears. I'm hoping I'm here with you. Diane, is there a way of changing the document where it reflects that upon the end of its life, or when they no longer want the sign, that it will be donated to the Neon Museum?
Yeah, Seabrant for the record. And also, I just did want to point out where those dates were coming from. UNLV did a Southern Nevada neon survey back in 2017, Bob, and they included this sign. And the building was constructed in 1947, but the researchers did not find a date then that sign was specifically built. They just said 1950s.
Yeah, there's no question about I read the report that it was constructed in 1947. The challenge also is that we faced in the early history, it changed ownerships rapidly. Within the first 3 or 4 years, boom, boom, boom. So it indicates to me potentially that the last owner is the one that said, I'm gonna be here for a while, I'm gonna put up a neon sign. I think it's important. There's got to be some records of the Planning Commission or somebody that you just didn't put up a neon sign of that height without the city
Proving it.
serving.
It'd be great to know the actual date.
Yeah, that would be terrific.
If we can figure it out, sure.
And Yesco doesn't have any records going back that late?
We do have some records, but this one we don't.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
And Seabrant, for the record, if I can answer your other part of your question, Mayor?
Yes.
As far as amending or editing the grant agreement, yes, we can put that language in there. We'll have to work with the city attorney's office to get that language changed. Jeff, did you have anything to add on that?
City Attorney Jeff Dorkak for the record. Yeah, we can vote with the item as is. It sounds like they're agreeable to Mayor and Mr. Stillwell's recommendation.
So we can pass this and then
Correct.
you could amend
And
it.
and it sounded like, if I was catching the concept, if they're not running the motel as a motel, we would want to take possession of it and get it to the Neon Museum. Is that essentially it?
That is it.
If
you decide.
That's not what I understood.
Well, what works for you?
Well,
Just so we-
the way it's set up now, we have part of it motel and part of it's long-term. So we don't want to, because it's a long-term residency, we don't want to have to turn the sign over. The goal.
Oh, no.
Right.
I'm thinking.
When we're done, if we decide to build a multifamily, which we're not planning to do, then of course we would donate the sign for sure.
Or a new owner does something similar.
And we plan to be
Brian
long-term
has a
owners
question.
also.
Yeah, so the mayor's
that all
the
be
mayor's
included in the
original language
contract?
was.
Let me
Go ahead.
just listen to the
Sorry, go
city
ahead.
attorney.
Sorry, my fault. So the mayor's original language was if you didn't have use for it anymore. And I can do something, I just didn't want to get in the scenario where everything's closed, the sign's up, and then you say, well, we still have use for it, but I don't think that's what you're planning on doing, just so we're all clear. Okay, then we'll do the mod language after, and you can vote on it today. Thank you.
Senator.
Yes, Commissioner Bryan, as I understand, this can be included in the contract.
Yes.
That's the only, got that right? Thank you very much.
Yes, Olivia? Oh, you're pointing over there?
Oh, hi.
Okay.
Why, thank you very much,
Hello
ma'am.
over there, Bob.
Thank you for respecting the elderly. Just thinking, there are hundreds of postcards that are shot of the boulevard and when it was 5th Street, and all of these things will show, somebody will show that sign and the motel, and we should be able to nail down the date of the printing of the postcard. I suspect that in informal ways, the date of construction, the date of installation is ready, it's available. We just haven't looked.
This is South 3rd Street, so it's doesn't
Oh,
have
well,
that.
but it's right there at the boulevard. In other words, a photo of another installation could easily show, in a period of time, if we nail down the period. Anyway, I just throw that in as, there is somebody with a huge supply of postcards, very, very old postcards, sitting here on the commission could probably help on that score, since he brought up the issue. Thank you very much, Mayor.
You're very welcome. Ryan, did you have anything to add to this robust conversation? Hannah?
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, Olivia?
Thank you. I just wanted to say, as a councilwoman whose ward this is going to have a favorable impact on, the area and the adjacency is very mid-century modern, and I feel that the sign being of that time is very fitting for it to remain as long as we can conserve it in that part of our community. And I know that there's many mid-century modern enthusiasts that live very adjacent. And just like the mayor pointed out, it being in such close proximity to the upcoming or the ever so being built out, the new parking structure that we're developing, I think it's going to get all of the eyes and live some old glory days. Some folks that may have never known about its history are going to actually see a neon sign, excuse me. And I think it's so important because neon is so much part of our DNA as a city that as much as we can preserve it, that ethos, that spirit, that just pride in Vegas is neon, everything neon. So super ecstatic that Mr. Plantone and Mr. Renan are willing to put in writing that they will do what's responsible with that sign, because we do know that the reality is land isn't someone's forever, and the assets on that land also change hands, and then we need to be able to then make sure that the signs that this commission has tried to preserve also are going to be dealt with in a responsible manner. And whether that's still at the original location or finding an alternate home for it, I think that's something that should be at top of mind given the unfortunate history of what happened to all of our signs off of Fremont. We're all kind of worried about it because now the motels are no longer in existence, but we have the signs that have been refurbished. And we just want to make sure that they can continue to be lit up at night and admired and viewed, and that they're going to stay pristine and give our community what we want. Kind of a little hurrah from the past. So appreciate everything that all the commissioners are noting, because I think it is important for us to make sure that we do document it, put it in writing, and say we need it. If we're going to put some love into the sign, that we put it in the most responsible hands long term.
Thank you, sir.
With
I
that,
will entertain a motion.
So I'd like to make a motion with all the information that's been shared. It's kind of, it'll add maybe 27 pages to the contract if we include everything, but I'm sure that with the city attorney's office and you and the commissioner, that the council member, dated myself, that I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Thank you so much. All those, everyone in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes.
May I add one quick thing?
You may.
Councilwoman Diaz has a one-up on everyone. She's been to our factory to see how neon is made. We invite the rest of you to come down to watch this sign be made. We'd love to have you down. Thank you.
Oh, that would be
And getting it
very
installed
cool.
too.
Very cool. Thank you guys so very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 8, report by the Executive Director of the Commission for the Las Vegas Centennial regarding completed projects and announcements relative to the Commission for the Las Vegas Centennial.
Okay, thank you, Seabrant, for the record. And just waiting for the slide here. Oh, it's right there.
Oh, there it is.
I'm looking at the wrong screen. Okay, so for the projects that are already in progress, we have the due dates in red under each one of the projects. So, I mean, pretty much everything is in production. As far as the Paul Williams documentary, he's conducting some final interviews. The rodeo, they will be giving their report about the 2025 rodeo at our March meeting. And then the 2026 rodeo, which is the last year on their current contract, is in November. We'll, of course, remind you of that as the dates get closer. As the City of Las Vegas, the film documentaries that are in production, everybody please mark your calendars. May 16th is going to be the film premiere for the 1980s, and that is going to be over at the Beverly Theater. Home in History, April 16th through 19th of this year. UNLV Sports Oral History, that one did need to be extended till August. The New West Steel exhibit over at the State Museum should be wrapping up in March of this year. And the 1911 and Fremont documentaries, those are still on track to finish. And the last one will be finishing in December of 27. El Dorado Parade, again, make sure you mark your calendars for this year. It is on May 9th. We also have the Marble Manor Oral History and Documentary that is in progress, the 1905 documentary in progress, the Atomic City project over at the museum in progress. And other than that, this Friday is the Mayor's Urban Design Symposium, and I'm going to turn that over to Mike Howe to talk about.
Thank you, Diane. Real quickly, this is, for the record, Michael Howe, Department of Community Development. This Thursday, we do have our Mayor's Urban Design Symposium, as mentioned. We have Honorable Mayor Berkeley will be kicking it off 10 a.m. The focus this year is on education design. We have 3 sessions, first beginning at 10:45, Carrie Upton and Dr. Adam Almeida with the Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District, going over some of their plans that they've successfully carried out in the Malibu area. That's followed up at 1:15. We have From Pedagogy to Practice, another session that's focusing on larger scale and for design professionals, basically in working with school districts. That's hosted by James O'Connor, FAIA, and Amy Yurka, both practicing architects. And their last session, Designing for Success, we have at 2:45, and that's with William Sullivan, Professor of Landscape Architecture from the University of Illinois, also partnered with Kevin Daly, FAIA, another architect operating out of Los Angeles. And again, the focus in different levels and different sessions is the impact that design has on education facilities. All the other elements that go into that, preservation, you're always building on history, the relationship of kids growing up in their community with their first institutional experience being their schools. And so it's open to everyone. I know we have architects and landscape architects and engineers, but it's everyone that's interested in design in our city.
Thank you so much.
And Sebring, for the record, just 2 more things, and my apologies, it's on I said Friday, it's Thursday. And it's free for everybody to go. So if you don't have anything going on Thursday at that time, Historic Fifth Street School, everybody is be able to attend for free. And also, Director Floyd also had another quick update.
Thank you, Diane. Actually, well, now I have 3 updates because if you want to have a full day of educational-related programming, the Clark County School District Superintendent is also doing her State of the District address 8:30 to 10 a.m. the same morning as the Design Awards at the Las Vegas Academy. So you could go from one to the other if you want a full day of educational opportunities there. The second update, and I probably should have done this with the item on the website updates, I just wanted to mention that has been a lengthy effort by a lot of people, including the commission, to get this website in much better order. Commissioner Arnold, I appreciate you bringing that up because we spent a lot of time. I know a lot of you and staff had a lot of headaches as well over getting that to the finish line, but I think it turned out really nicely. I was just browsing the website now, and it looks so much better from where we started a year or 2 ago when we hired Jeffrey to do that. So that's looking really good. And then the final update, and this is a continuation of a conversation and a question we had from last time. We are almost at the finish line on the revisions to the bylaws. We've been working with primarily Commissioner Stoddall and Senator Bryan, and I have a final draft sitting in my inbox from the city attorneys last week. We've met several times. I think you're going to be pleased with where those stand right now, and we will have that on the agenda, barring some unforeseen circumstance, but we're on target right now for March, and so we'll be bringing a fresh set of bylaws to you all in March. So thank you to everyone for your comments along the way. I think these are going to be some good changes that'll keep pointing us in the right direction.
Commissioner Bryan, for an observation. Seth, we'd like to thank you for helping us to organize, to get together, and the cooperative approach that you had to some of the proposals that we made. That's in the best tradition of public service. Thank you all.
I'd like to jump in and quite frankly thank the city attorney's office. It was a...
Could I hear that again? What was that?
I was sneezing.
Don't make me say something.
The representative of the city's attorney's office really got us. There was so much clarity that they brought to the meeting, and we were able to move, I think, surprising all of us in some way, to a very positive conclusion. One of the challenges that we face is the operating agreement, or the bylaws are 20 years old. And it calls for this group to have an election every year, along with other outdated things. And some of those things this commission will have to vote on. Does it want it every 2 years, every 4 years, whatever. But it was a significant effort, I think, by the city to really update and clarify that. And again, thanks to the city's attorney's office for their guidance and their attention to the details.
Thank you so much. This agenda item is informational only. Does anybody have any other comments or questions that they'd like to ask at this time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Real quick. The budget, the finance director of the report lists $50,000 for advertising. And it would be, I'm not speaking for Louise Heltland, but we would look forward to some sort of a presentation on what we would advertise. Is it going to be a public advertisement saying, this is the Centennial Commission, and if you have a project that fits these guidelines, or is it going to be a marketing of the license plates or something, or is there already a plan that the communication department has to for the advertising budget for the fiscal year 2026? And the last thing was the minutes. Our last minutes indicate we were going to get a report on the 2005 rodeo with an update on the 2026. That was in the minutes.
Seabrant, for the record, I apologize that sometimes people aren't able to make it when they promise. So when we originally spoke with the rodeo, they said they'd be able to present at the January meeting. They were not able to. So as I mentioned in my update, they'll give us an update in March.
All right, well, seeing no other questions, we'll go to agenda item number 9, discussion regarding topics for future agenda items. Comments made during this portion of the agenda by individual members shall refer solely to proposals for future agenda items, and any discussion shall be limited to whether or not such proposed items are within the purview of the commission and or whether such proposed items may be placed on a future agenda. No discussion regarding the substance of any such proposed topic shall occur and no action shall be taken. Is there anybody that wishes to speak under this agenda item?
Quick question, so for the record, Seth, if we get on March, the Centennial Commission votes on updating the bylaws, would we also be voting on new members of the I think the mayor's position as chair is already set, but there's a vice chair, a secretary, a treasurer. Would we be voting on them, or what do you think? Or maybe that's not a.
Well, I believe the way that we revise that in the agreement is that once a year, or at a certain interval, you will vote on your officers. I don't believe that's set for the next meeting.
Okay.
So we would clean up the bylaws, and then at the next meeting where you voted on your officers, then you would choose your new officers for the remainder of the year. And then we submit everything to the Secretary of State and do it all on that cycle.
Great.
Okay, you're good. Anybody else?
Yes, Commissioner Mowbray here.
Yes, Mr. Mowbray.
Kind of a follow-up on the Howard Hughes Mormon will trial. We've had some very notable trials in Las Vegas, not just Clark County, but within I would say a 1 mile radius of where we sit right now. One of them would be the MGM MDL fire litigation, that tragedy back in November of 1980. I can think of several rolling out. If someone would take the time and maybe get a hold of the Judicial Historical Society and chronicle that for the ages, and make sure it's tied into a Las Vegas courthouse. I sat as a law clerk for Judge Roger Foley during the Ralph Lamb trial in 1977. I can think of some others. The bookmaking trial, which is now, was illegal then, but now it's all over the internet. I mean, there's a lot of body there that could be explored and preserved for the ages.
Maybe there's a timeline on legal that needs to be done, and maybe changing the Tule Springs Park from a convicted felon Floyd Lamb to just Tule Springs or Las Vegas. So a lot of things we can discuss.
Operation Yowo.
Yes.
Back in 1980s, remember that one? Not to mention more. My old partner, Bill Morris, had been practicing since 1950. Sat down with me one day and he said, "John, expect every other decade it will be a big scandal." And true.
Well, thank you for those words. Can't wait for the next one. Okay, agenda item number 10, citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the commission. No subject may be acted upon by the commission unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. I will limit it to 2 minutes. Is there any member of the public that wishes to address the Centennial Commission? Seeing none, we will now go to agenda item 11, and I adjourn this meeting. Okay. There you go.
I think we may set.